Okay. Okay, everyone. I found the video. I just gonna give you some of the highlights of the story about Sarita Christwell and why men that go on their platforms that are talk, excuse me, that are saying the most ridiculous and most wickedest stuff from their mouth about our girl Ashley Janae. It doesn't give anybody an excuse to speak so wicked on her name over a Facebook post and the divester. Two wrongs do not make it right. And men should not be doing that, period, at all. Men that speak violence against women, like, oh, she deserved what she got, things that Whack 100 said, Tommy Sotomayor, Tariq, whatever his name, Nariq, not Tariq, whatever. All of these ignorant platforms. And I just want to bring awareness to women to stay away from those type of men that speak like that on their platform. Women, we have to stand strong and hold each other up. And we have to hold these men accountable for the things that they promote on these platforms that are dangerous. I don't care how much you like them and you be entertained by them or whatever, and they sensationalize you. This is why we have the problem we have today in society. We got to do better, women. We got to do better. Because whenever you see men that act and behave this type of way on their platforms, this is going to become a reality. Seeing women being murdered and killed, and just be by the conversations they've been having on their platforms, especially around this young lady, Ashley, Ashley, Janae. Say her name. Okay? Enough is enough. We done seeing video after video. Let me show you. Let me show you this is how serious it is. Look at this. Baby daddy had other plans and he killed his baby mother when she was getting ready for her induction to have her child. Another one. Let me show you. Well, we know about Ashley right there. We know about Ashley. Ashley is all over here right now. This other woman shot 4 times in the face. Pregnant rapper. This just recently happened. Okay, they go Ashley again. You know, she's a lot of topics. They talking about Ashley. They better be looking out for themselves. Okay? Ashley, she's gone. Now her family try to get her body. They saying all this stuff about the money, this, that, and it doesn't matter. She dated a white man. Doesn't matter. It's violence against women. It doesn't matter if he's black, white, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, or whatever. It's violence against women. They violent against women too. But we got to start with our own community. With the community of the black community that gets out here and talk reckless about this woman's life. And all these women that are dying and getting killed by their baby daddies. They own baby daddies. I don't want to hear that. They got all this stuff about Ashley. 21-year-old law student and dancer shot dead by her boyfriend. Okay? Let's go on. She tried to do everything right. She did everything right. So what went wrong? The India Kenmore story. Another woman murdered and killed by her boyfriend. Young Atlanta mom vanishes without a trace. Brianna Watson. I haven't done that story yet. Okay. A woman shot dead for returning back to an abusive relationship. Black women. Look at the stories. Look at the stories. You just could keep going on and on and on and on and on. We already did the Ashley story. We want to talk about other women who's been killed. People like this. This man right here. All he do is sit on his platform all day trying to give everybody how to live. Nothing good comes out of. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, men that sit on their platform like bitches. Okay, a bunch of broken men. Stop listening to them. They sickening. Now it don't got so bad. They out here killing their mother. Shot his own mother. Chicago man shoots mom 3 times, then turn gun on himself. Look how serious this is. You just keep going. Violence against women. Killed a boyfriend. Yeah, this is the one about the rapper that shot his girlfriend. Okay, because she was pregnant and he didn't want her to have the child, so he shot her, and guess how many times? He shot her 4 times in her face. We can't just only stay on one story. It's so many out there. There are so many out there. That's why I'm so disgusted to see these black men making these headlines. Oh, Ashley deserved what she got, divest her, and all of that stupid, dumb bullshit. When there's women are being killed every second and every day and hour by a husband, boyfriend, baby daddy. What the fuck is wrong with you? You broken, bitter, disgusting, I don't know what, monsters. That's all you do is promote evil against women, broken men. They can't be fixed. But what you can do is cancel their ass. They every time I see their platform put up anything on Ashley, guess what? It's getting reported. And I'm going to move on a movement right here on YouTube that any man that sit on his platform degrading women and especially women who's been killed by violence and families that are grieving. If you're not going to sit on your platform to bring awareness or say something that is good, to give them hope or prayer, then don't say nothing at all. Stay on one little topic and just mind your business when it comes to these kind of things. If you can't say anything that is good, because you're so stuck on color. Violence is evil and is wicked. No matter what color that man is, it's just still wrong. And it doesn't have to do with anything with skin color. It's just the evil that some men have in their heart. White men, black men, doesn't matter. Let's listen to a story.
Case developing out of Landover has Prince George's County leaders looking for answers and changes into how to protect victims of domestic violence. Thank you for joining me. I'm Scott Thuman. A 32-year-old man is now in custody, accused of killing his girlfriend, 29-year-old Sharita Christwell, even though many are wondering why he was not in jail at the time. 7 News' Carl Willis was at today's news conference where we heard from the victim's family.
I always wonder, what could we have done differently?
Nothing but questions and tears after 29-year-old Sharita Christwell was shot and killed in a Landover apartment on July 5th. The man charged with her murder, 32-year-old Harry Lindsay, the father of her 2 children, and the man accused of assaulting her days before she was killed.
He said, "Ma, I'm sorry and I love you. I love your daughter. I'll never do it again." 4 days later, he killed my baby. He didn't deserve to go like that.
The victim's family is disturbed that Lindsay was out of jail on home detention after being arrested for beating and choking Sharita back on June 16th. Prince George's County executive and former state's attorney Aisha Braveboy says victims of strangulation are 7 times more likely to become victims of homicide.
Anyone who strangles you intends to kill you. Make no mistake.
According to police records, a domestic violence lethality assessment was conducted after that assault report, and the case was found to be high danger. Still, Lindsay was released on home monitoring shortly after Sharita's family got the call that they were dreading. Now, 7 News on Your Side is asking what needs to be done to better protect victims of domestic violence. Where does the problem lie in the system if he was still allowed to be released?
I can't say why the decision was made to allow this particular defendant to be released on home monitoring. What I can tell you is that it should not have.
The victim's family says Lindsay was enraged because Sharita had moved on from the relationship. And they have a message for anyone living in fear in an abusive relationship.
But when he tell you he's going to kill you, you need to get away. He's not going to say it just to say it. He's saying it because he mean it.
In Prince George's County, Carl Willis, 7 News.
Now, as you just heard, Lindsay and Sharita Criswell's mother spoke just 4 days before she died. Today, she's sharing this message to all victims of domestic violence.
Domestic violence is very serious. And people need to acknowledge this. When somebody tell you this, I don't care how afraid you are, you need to report it.
If you or someone you know needs help, there are resources available. People in Prince George's County are also available to help. Call this number that's on your screen or call the national hotline or visit the help web.
And I believe we should start taking a lot serious with these men that post these videos. Women too. Women too. With your jealous, evil heart, you support this kind of violence too. When you sit around and you hear stories about a woman who went to her grave for something, and Ashley wasn't doing anything wrong and she didn't deserve that. Regardless of what she did on her platform as far as promoting her beauty and her traveling, she didn't deserve y'all to be up here attacking her either. Going and making speculate and making up all kind of things on her life. Digging into her life, but you better worry about what somebody got to say about you when your time comes. There's some women out here doing the same thing. They evil too. Jealous and evil. Just jealous women. They follow these wicked men. Do your own research. Don't jump on the bandwagon and run with the narrative. Because you want to, be on this topic because she was dating a white man. That was her preference. But she didn't ask to be killed or being lured out to a foreign country somewhere. It could be anybody. It could happen to anybody's daughter, and it can happen to you too. You get caught out there in your moment of weakness. You thought you found a good man that's treating you right, and then all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he changed on you and show you who he really is. The stories like this went on and on. We saw the burning bed. Women in prison for killing the domestic, for trying to escape domestic violence. This woman actually had, and it's a true story because I think Farrah Fawcett played the part. It was a white woman. It was another white girl. It was another story of another white girl. And then this happened back in the 70s, probably like maybe the early 80s, maybe the 70s or whatever. They did her story. She was trying to get away from an abusive husband, and every time she tried to get away and everything, he came looking for her. She had children by him and everything, and then when the police came, he stomped on her and he stabbed her and did everything right there in front of the police. This is not something to get on your platform and do commentary about, saying things like, I'm not going to support like Willie D. He don't want to support the GoFundMe, then that's he has the right not to do that. But let me tell you something, though. You don't have to make an announcement about it and give you a reason for an excuse. Because you are some horrible black men. And I don't even see why any woman would want to be with any of y'all. Because what you speak from your mouth is what's in your heart. Now let's go to the story of this other woman who was killed, her baby daddy.
Hidden Meadows Drive in Coleraine Township, Ohio was quiet in the early hours of March 4th. The kind of quiet that belongs to that specific hour, 5 a.m., when the night has not quite let go and the morning has not quite arrived. When the world is still and most people are still wrapped in the safety of sleep. India was among them. asleep, unaware, hours away from meeting her son. And then, a door. Forced open. Heavy footsteps cross the threshold of India's apartment. Moving through the dark. Moving with purpose. Moving toward a woman who had done nothing to deserve what was coming. Lamar Morris Suggs, identified by prosecutors as the man who pulled the trigger, moved through that apartment with the kind of calm that only comes from a plan that has been rehearsed. This was not confusion. This was not hesitation. This was an execution. The apartment surveillance system captured what happened next. And I want to be careful here because India Kenmore was a real person, a mother, a daughter, a woman who deserved.
Listen to this. Look at this. She has to leave a child behind, and she had one that was killed right in her stomach. This is how evil these men have become. This is how dark and evil they are. I pray every day, Lord, keep me safe. Because you never know. I pray for these women because I pray for myself as well. I don't want nobody to ever have to go through this for love. Thinking you with somebody that love you and they your enemy to destroy you. These messed up, twisted individuals. This young mother who had so much looking forward to, a great mother, loving her child. This is sad, y'all. And we got these men on the platform that saying the sick things they say out of their mouth, like Tommy. He should have been canceled. I don't even understand why that man still got a platform. Of all the ignorance that he say about women, especially about black mothers. He must be had the worst mother ever. That did so much horrible things around his life. He had such a horrible, evil spirit. A hard heart. Unloving, unkind, not no compassion whatsoever. Caught up in your hatefulness, your self-hate. I don't even understand why he even still got a platform. I don't even understand why women would even go to his platform. I only saw the headlines of things he said, but I don't go to his. I went to his platform a long time ago. It was a very long time ago when this young girl, she was being beaten by her boyfriend. She was so distraught, but they only showed one side of the story, of course, and try to say she was a mother because she put the baby out. You know, he said the man was beating her so bad she was trying to harm the baby because that's how horrible it was for her. And he videotaped it and he tried to make it seem like he was the victim when it was him beating on her and harming her. And just so she could get away from him, he said he wanted to see his child, so she gave him his child outside the door. I never forget that video. And they said, oh, look at this horrible mother. Oh, she's a bad mother. Oh, he did videos. But behind that story, it was him that was beating her. This woman was so destroyed. This young girl. And he tried to make it look like she was doing the harm, but it was him. He was a wicked man. And some of these men would sit up there, and Tommy Sotomayor was sitting up there calling her all the names he could think about and didn't even know the whole story. Domestic violence. It gets so bad sometimes that they can't get away. They stay there till they go crazy. Until they have to take his life. It just takes away. I know these things. I work with mothers with children. I work with children. I work with young children. That's why I work in places like in the early learning educational centers. I see mothers come in. I seen mothers come in there with the baby daddies beating them. I worked in the school where I had to work around mothers who were being beaten. The children couldn't even come to school because the mother had to be placed in a some kind of protective program. I had to work with mothers that came and they had to have their children's identity hitting because they were scared that the baby daddy would come for the children. I had to look at notices that said the fathers are not to pick up the children, not to even come near the building. I see this stuff all the time.
So much more than the way her story ended. So I will not dwell on the details beyond what is necessary to understand the gravity of what was taken that morning. What the surveillance captured was India's voice, her screams, the sound of a mother, instinctive, desperate, fierce, trying to protect the life growing inside her even in her final moments. Because that is who India was. Even then, even in the most terrifying seconds of her life, her first instinct was not for herself. It was for Karen. Multiple gunshots. And then, silence. India Kenmore never made it to the hospital. Baby Karen never took his first breath. 2 lives, stolen in the space of heartbeats. In the home that was supposed to be their safe place. In the early hours of the day that was supposed to change everything in the most beautiful way imaginable. The men moved quickly after. They had a story to sell.
This is how wicked it is. Men. It was 3 men. The baby father and his homeboys. The baby father and his homeboys. Let's go on.
And a scene to set. Drawers were pulled open. Items were moved. Signs of forced entry were staged. The apartment was arranged to tell a specific lie, that India Kenmore had been the victim of a random burglary. A tragic case of wrong place, wrong time. They left believing they had bought themselves time. They left believing the lie would hold. But they left something behind that no amount of staging could erase. They left evidence. And they left a little boy. India's 6-year-old son woke up that morning the way children do, without any awareness of what the world can do to the people you love most. He padded through that apartment looking for his mother the way he had done every single morning of his small life. And he found her, too young to fully understand, old enough to know that something was terribly, horribly wrong. He did the only thing he could think to do. He picked up the phone, and he called his grandmother. And the words that came out of that little boy's mouth, words no child should ever have to say, words that Terry Kenmore will carry with her for the rest of her life. My mommy has been shot. Somebody is in our house, and my mommy is screaming. First responders arrived.
Can you imagine that? This is how wicked and evil that little boy had to wake up and see his mother dead. Thank God he knew how to call his grandmother, because she trained him well, and she trained him her phone number, because I had kids that don't even know their parents' name. I'll be asking them in the classroom, what's mommy's name? Mommy. They don't know their home address. They don't know their phone number. I knew my phone number when I was 5 years old. Like I told you, I used to call my grandmother. My mother used to come and see the phone. She's like, who you call? Okay. I used to call my aunties. I used to call grandma just to say hi. And I was only like maybe 5, no more than 5 and 6. Me and my sister get on the phone and make phone calls. We used to know our home address. We used to know both our parents' first and last names. These kids don't know none of that today. They want to keep them so stupid and ignorant. This is how they dumbed America down. With some of the nonsense and some of the curriculums and some of the things they teaching kids today. But they want to push all on them as nothing but LGBTQ. But thank God she trained her son. And you could just look at her. She was a beautiful mother. And she was just looking forward to having a little family. And, some people want to be that. They want to be a mom. And she was being a mom. Look at her playing with her son and dancing with him and having her on the beach and laying with her child and kissing her child and everything. This breaks your heart. You saw her little picture of her taken for her gender reveal party. Or baby shower, you want to call it that. you know? Let's go on.
Arrived at Hidden Meadows Drive to find a scene that told two stories at once. The story the killers wanted them to see, a burglary, and the story that experienced investigators began to see almost immediately, a scene that had been arranged, a lie that had been constructed, a cover that, the moment you looked closely enough, started falling apart. Because nothing had been taken, not one valuable item, not one thing that a real burglar would have come for. The chaos was staged, and the Coleraine Township Police Department, looking at a 26-year-old woman shot dead in her own home on the morning she was
She was
supposed
so
to give
cute.
birth, made a decision that would set the course of the next 2.5 years. They were not going to let this go. 873 days. That is how long it took. 873 days between the morning India Kenmore was found lifeless in her apartment and the morning three men finally felt handcuffs close around their wrists. 873 days of Terry Kenmore waking up every single morning knowing who was responsible for her daughter's death and watching those people move freely through the same world India no longer got to live in. 873 days of a little boy growing up without his mother. 873 days of a nursery that never got used. Of a hospital bag that never made it to the car. Of a name, Karen, that never got spoken out loud the way India had imagined. Justice, when it finally came, was not fast, but it was coming, even when it didn't look like it. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, investigators arrived at Hidden Meadows Drive with the staged scene staring them in the face. A burglary. That was the story. And for a time it worked. Detectives spent the early weeks of the investigation chasing.
You gotta excuse me for a minute because I'm crying. I needed to just take a break, y'all. Let's go on. Just a break, just a break. I'm very sensitive about things like this because I hear about it all the time, y'all. All the time. When it's gonna end, we gotta stop. We gotta do better. These children are growing up without their mothers. We gotta do better, y'all. It takes us. It takes all of us women, to be there for these mothers, to be there for the community of these mothers and these children. This is sad. What are we doing? This is social media now. Clicks, views, likes, sensation, whatever. But this is real lives out here on the line. This can happen tomorrow to anybody, tonight to anybody. We got to stay covered in the word. We got to stay covered in the word of God. We got to put Jesus in our heart again. We just got to. Because people became so cold, so mean, so wicked. This young mother, just looking at her, just ready for to have her second child and ready for a nursery and a baby and just to bring her son into the world. And this is what happened to her. Even though it happened 3 years ago. 2 years, it happened in 2023, but still.
Leads that went nowhere. Known burglars in the area were interviewed. Pawn shops were checked for stolen items that never materialized. Neighborhood canvasses were conducted. The community was living in fear. The killers had counted on exactly this. A community paralyzed by fear of a phantom criminal, looking outward.
They need to start taking domestic violence as RICOs, as organized crime. They need to raise the standard. They need to raise the statute on this in the law. They should not just only get 6 months in jail, a year in jail. That's not enough time for them to get themselves together. It's time to let them stay there for a longer time. They need a RICO. You put your hands on a woman, you kill a woman, or you doing not before you even kill her, you gonna get a RICO. You ain't gotta kill her. Just put your hands on her and beat her up. Give her a black eye, or you do anything violence you commit. If she's doing something to you, or she's being too much of a headache to you, or whatever it is, walk away. And file for a divorce or whatever. And y'all live in separate houses. But violence against women, because men can always overpower us. No matter how masculine she tries to act, no matter how masculine she tries to be, is she could take all the karate lessons and do whatever, he can still beat your ass because he was built for that.
At strangers, at dark streets, at unknown faces, while the real danger sat comfortably among them. But here is what Kayvon Warren and his accomplices did not fully account for. They lived in 2023, and in 2023, phones remember everything. The breakthrough in this case did not come from a witness stepping forward. It came from digital forensics. Investigators began pulling cell phone records. And what they found was not just information, it was a roadmap. In the weeks leading up to March 4th, 2023, Kayvon Warren, Robert Irvin, and Lamar Morris Suggs had been communicating extensively. Their phones had been pinging cell towers across Hamilton County, creating an invisible but undeniable map of their movements. Every call, every message, every location, all of it recorded, all of it waiting. And then came the deleted messages. Because here is something that people who plan crimes in text messages often do not fully understand. Deleting a message from your phone does not delete it from the world. Service providers keep records. Digital forensics experts know exactly where to look. And what investigators recovered from those deleted conversations was devastating. A step-by-step account of the conspiracy. Messages discussing the plan. Messages.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't tell you I'm getting this from the True Crime HQ file. This is where I'm getting this video from. I'm sorry I didn't give a shout out to them. It's called the True Crime HQ file. This channel is where I'm getting this information. I didn't give a shout out to this channel, but this is what's going on today, y'all. This is why I am so angry about these men that get on the platform like they bitches and they so sensitive with their hard heart and they broken life and they say the horriblest, most horrible things about this young lady, Ashley, that just recently lost her life in a foreign country. They channels need to be taken down. They platform anyway. If they're going to have a conversation on anything that's going to promote violence against women, their platforms need to be just taken down because they are creating this problem.
Signing roles. Messages about timing, approach, and execution. Conversations that showed Warren's growing desperation about the pregnancy, about his finances, about the other woman in his life. The timestamps allowed investigators to reconstruct the entire timeline. The communications between the three men continued.
I thank God. The things I could thank God about. I was young. I was in a marriage at a very young age with an older husband, a foreign husband. And I thank God that I made it out alive. I made it out alive. I thank God that I was in relationships that were not treating my heart very good. There was some physical, altercations, whatever, at times. But I'm still alive. I'm still around. I'm still here. I had friends that stayed in abusive relationships and they messed up. They damaged to this day. I mean, they had children from the marriages or whatever, and I thank God that I came out without all of that. So I can be the strength to other women, that I can help somebody's child out here today, somebody's daughter out here today in bad relation. I had a friend, like I said, from my husband's family. They was in a she was in a relationship with his brother, and oh my God, it was horrible. The way they both were, but it was more him because she was the female. And she was doing everything she can to start her life over, build a life with him, a family with him, and everything else with him. But guess what? He was beating on her. So she finally had, and now it's sad the way her life is just so jacked up now. She tried to go to the Lord. She tried to stay into the church, brought him into the church. He dragged her, got her out of the church. Because see, when a man ain't into the Lord, like you're into the Lord, and you're not really that strong in the Lord yet, if anything he does, he can move your heart away from God. But see, with me, they act up. I'm moving closer and closer and closer to Jesus. You understand why I pray every day. I pray every day. I'm watching everything, and I'm saying I'm on here talking to y'all right now because the most important man in my life right now is Jesus. That's why I said I don't care what that man out there doing. I don't care if he's out there doing whatever he's doing. If he ain't coming home on time from work or whatever, you know why? Because I'd rather stay quietly here with the Lord, and I don't even care because I know Jesus keep me safe. I don't want to get in no riffraff with you so you could slap me up, beat me up, give me a black eye, break my arm or whatever. I'll just rather just stay with the Lord and let God deal with you. If you out there doing anything that's wrong, God will deal with you, which I doubt very much because I don't get that. But I'm just saying, I still stay here with the Lord quietly with the I don't be like, oh, let's get together and let's go out drinking or let's go do this or let's go to I don't need none of that. I love being home. I love staying quietly home. If I ain't got nowhere to go or do nothing as far as something that has something important to do out of my house, I don't really leave out. It's as simple as that. As long as I got food in my house, my lights are on, my bills are being paid. I don't have no reason to be going to nobody drinking, but every now and then I might sit down and go out and treat myself out to lunch and have a lunch or go out and have breakfast or whatever. But I don't, that's not really my thing. I'd like to kick my own little nice breakfast at home and have my nice little cup of tea or a cup of coffee or whatever and sit back and relax. Or watch a good movie and sit here nicely and peacefully by myself. No riffraff, no nothing. I don't need all that noise. I don't even like people coming running in and out of my house with drama. I just don't like noise. I just don't like drama in my home. Noise in my house, just stay peaceful. I remember when I used to keep one of my nephew, God bless his soul, but I remember when he used to come visit me at my apartment when I used to, live in New York and everything. And I was into the Lord and stuff. And sometimes over the weekends and stuff, I keep my nieces and my cousin kids, and I'll keep my nephew with me, and I have my nephews and the kids will come with me because they had to go to Sunday school. I used to they were my Sunday school kids, so they had to come and stay the weekend with me and go to Sunday school. And their parents were happy for that, to leave their kids with me so they could go out there and do what they want to do. And they were like, oh yeah, you want to keep the kids? Oh yeah, they bring all the kids to me, and I used to know how to make it all nice. I had the little girls sleep in the room with me, and the boys would stay outside. I had a futon out in the living room, and I also had the living room sofa and the couch, but I had each and every last one of them made a little bed on either the sofa, the futon, or the couch. That's how I made my bed up for them. And the kids, we get up and we go to Sunday school in the morning and everything. That's what I used to do with the children on the weekend. But on Saturdays and stuff, I would more always have other activities involved for them. I would say, okay, y'all could go outside and play in the playground, but don't go nowhere else. Y'all stay right there in the playground. I come out there and check on them chance I get, like every 10, 15 souls minute, run in the house, go do something if I had the potty, or go get get some snacks out of the house or whatever and bring it to the kids, because I had snacks always in the house. So I would bring it so they could have that outside while they playing. I have the waters and everything. In the summertime, when the weather was warm out there. But and then sometimes I'll have, like, we go to the movies. Or we'll go roller skating. That's how I used to make my activities plan. But we had to go to Sunday school on Sunday. They used to love coming because I always had planned out everything to do with them, and I'd be right there with them and stuff. And the kids, I had fun. I enjoyed it. That's my time of being a mom. On the weekend, I was the weekend mom. I swear, but it was fun. I enjoyed them when they were little, but now, please, they can't stand me. Okay, they forget all of that stuff now. They got caught up in social media and the things out here in the world now, so they ain't got time for me. But when they do see me, when I be around family reunions, and they all grown and older now, but when they do see me, they all respect me. At least they respect me, and they give me hugs and things like of that nature.
Until 3:40 a.m. on the morning of March 4th, and then went completely silent, right up until the moment India's body was discovered. Cell phone location data placed all three men in the vicinity of Hidden Meadows Drive during that window. Their devices told investigators exactly where they had been, exactly when they had been there, exactly how their movements aligned with the timeline of India's murder. The staged burglary began to collapse. And then investigators found it. The single piece of evidence that transformed this case from strong to overwhelming. The bereavement leave request. Documentation, time-stamped, employer verified, showing that Kayvon Warren had formally requested time off from work to grieve his girlfriend's death before she was killed. In a case built on digital evidence and recovered messages and location data,
Wait,
this one document did something none of the others could do.
Did she just say that he asked him for time off from work to grieve his girlfriend's death before she was even killed? Wow. So that's how he got himself caught, huh? So that's how they knew he planned it, because he probably thought she was dead already. He said, oh, he needed to be home to grieve her death. Wow.
Quite as powerfully. It proved intent. While investigators were building their case, Terry Kenmore was living inside the silence of those 873 days in a way that is almost impossible to describe. She attended every court hearing, every status conference, every procedural appearance that moved this case forward by inches when she needed it to move by miles. There were moments when the investigation seemed to stall, when leads dried up, when the family quietly wondered whether India's case would join the thousands of unsolved murders that never find resolution. But Terry never stopped believing. I never gave up, she would later say. There were a lot of people who thought this case would never be solved, but I have faith in God. I know
Amen.
that God can do anything. 873 days after India was taken, the evidence was ready. The case was ready. And on August 21st, 2025, justice finally started moving. August 21st, 2025. A Wednesday morning that started like any other in Hamilton County, Ohio. But by midday, everything had changed. For three men who had spent 873 days believing they had gotten away with it. Three men who had gone about their lives, eating, sleeping, breathing, while India Kenmore and her son Karen lay side by side in Spring Grove Cemetery. That Wednesday morning, the clock ran out. At 11:47 a.m., a coordinated operation launched simultaneously across Hamilton County. Robert Irvin was taken into custody at his residence. No incident, no chase, just the quiet, inevitable closing of a trap that had been built over 2.5 years. Kayvon Warren, the man India trusted, the man who requested bereavement leave before her death, the man prosecutors would call the mastermind, came face to face with detectives who had been building this moment brick by brick for nearly 3 years. And Lamar Morris Suggs, identified by prosecutors as the man who pulled the trigger, was already behind bars on unrelated weapons charges. When officers arrived to inform him of the new charges, he discovered that his past had followed him somewhere even prison walls couldn't protect him from. For India's family, the phone call they had spent 873 days waiting for finally came. 1 week later, on August 28, 2025, Hamilton County Prosecutor Connie Pillock stood before the media and laid out 13 counts. 4 counts of aggravated murder, 2 for India, 2 for baby Karen. Because Ohio law recognized that unborn child as a separate victim, a separate life, a separate loss, aggravated burglary, felonious assault, weapons violations. 13 counts. For 2 lives taken in one calculated act. This should have been one of the happiest days of India's life, said Hamilton County Prosecutor Connie Pillock. Instead, the father of the child conspired with 2 others to kill her. It is heartbreaking. My office will see that justice is done for both India and her baby. And for the first time in 873 days, India's family finally felt like someone in power was speaking their truth out loud. Watch what happened next.
3 men are facing murder charges for killing 26-year-old India Kenmore and her unborn child. Thanks for joining us here at 5:30.
Okay, I'm just going to leave it as that, y'all, because this is just a sad thing. And it took them 800. So that means that they finally brought them to justice. After 800 and something days, that's 2.5 years. It happened in 2023. Here we are in 2026. So it basically, they just been brought to justice recently for the murder of this mother and her unborn child. And I'm glad the mother stayed at that courthouse, because that case would have went cold. If that mother, they would have got off. They would have been able to walk free, like just like what's taking place now with Ashley. Only thing the father, the mother, they want to keep that case or her story open, because they know this is going to be a long process, because this happened in a foreign country. So it is going to be a long process. But the most important thing is trying to get her body back here to the United States, so she can be laid to rest. That's what their concerns are right now. Is basically, that's the first process. Not right now you're going to see any, real true arrest, because everybody's jurisdiction is different in their country. So America doesn't really have any charge, but they're going to stay on their neck about it, because they're going to keep them on the neck just in case. They're going to be watching every move. They're going to just do an investigation. They're going to have to do an investigation to find out if he done this to anybody else there. And that's what they probably looking into, because they said he made frequent visits. He was very known there, and he had known people in that place. The way his money is eventually going to run out. And people, when they know you involved in a crime and somebody's on your neck, okay, they don't want to be a part of it. They probably try to get rid of him. Okay, some other people that's out there, they probably going to try to, like, oh no. So they say he's being held in custody, whatever. But right now, his friends are just going to start, that's what they do. They're going to start all his business connections and people. He already lost 80% of his business. Okay, that right there, he already lost. He ain't gonna try to get a new identity while he's there, or try to escape and go live in another country somewhere else, so they don't know where he's at out there in Tanzania. But they just really, with the family right now, really wants is to go there and bring her back and have her laid to rest. But they're gonna still want to keep the case open, because eventually they're gonna get him. He's going to be in Tanzania, and people are going to start removing themselves away from him, because you know why? Because they're going to want to keep themselves away from it, so that whatever crimes they doing, they don't get caught either. So they're going to try to get away from him. They're going to try to distance. If he even have connections here in the United States, people ain't going to want to be bothered with him. By him not calling that family and keeping them informed or whatever, like what happened to Ashley, da 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 da. People ain't gonna want. That's what they start doing. People gonna start finding themselves away from Joe. That's what's gonna happen because he's probably done this before, and it's probably some stuff they probably gonna find out here in the United States on him and bring him back. That's what they looking for. So anyway, y'all, he's gonna get caught. He's gonna be brought to justice because they're gonna know that he's probably done this before. That's why they don't want her story to go silent. Because somebody's gonna come out and start speaking. Somebody else, they're gonna find out if he have a crime here in the United States, so they can expedite him back here to the U.S. to charge him for those crimes and also for Ashley. That's what's gonna happen. Well, anyway, y'all, I'm gonna say good night. I'm done for the night, but we'll be back again hopefully tomorrow, and we're gonna do some more stories on some other women. So we're gonna keep their names so people will get it about domestic violence against women, crimes against women, because we got to do something about this. We got to do something about this. I'm going to look through my Bible tonight. I'm going to find a story of a woman, and we're going to talk about her life for these women that we seeing being harmed by these evil men. And with that being said, God bless you. I love you.